Hello friends, my name is Bintu Harwani and this is my second lecture of Android app, and it will be an interactive app. That is, it will ask the user to enter something and it will display a welcome message. For example, if you enter Bintu, so it will display a welcome Bintu message. So it will be a small interaction. I hope that you will see my first lecture of Android app, and if you haven't seen it, the link of that is in the description box. Do view that video to see how the first app was made. So let's start with it.
The first step to start with this interacting with the user app, to create this app, is to launch Android Studio. I've already loaded it, and you can see that the first step is to start a new Android project. I assume that you've already seen my first lecture of creating the hello world message, right? If you haven't seen that video, the link of that video is there in the description box. Please watch that video, then you'll be easily able to understand this second lecture. Okay, so the Android Studio is asking what kind of activity you want for this app. As usual, we'll take this empty activity, click next. It is asking you the name of the project. We'll give the name as, say, display welcome, right? And it is asking you the package name. In the first lecture, we already discussed that this is a sort of a primary name or secondary domain of websites. So we'll give the name like, say, BM Harwani, and this is the lowercase of the project title that you already given here. The language we will use the Kotlin, and the minimum SDK we'll take as API 17 because we want this app to run on maximum of the devices. Moreover, this is the simplest app. We won't be using much of the features of the APIs. So let's click on finish. This app is created, and as we know that the app has these two main files. This is a main activity file which loads your GUI screen, right? And it is basically loading your activity underscore main.xml file. This is that file which is the GUI screen. We have already seen that in the first lecture that the empty activity gets you one default component, that is TextView. You can see it over here. This is that. In this app, we'll be requiring three components. One is to ask the user to enter a name. Second is a button component, and third is to display a welcome message. The control that will be used to take the username will be the EditText control, right? It can be seen from here, this palette. Select the text palette. Here you will find so many components in this text palette. We will take this plain text, click it and drag it over the layout window. We'll shrink it a bit so that we can see all, and here this is that. And thereafter we will be requiring a button component on which when the user will click, you will get the welcome message. So I'll click and drag this button component and place it over here, and this is your TextView component, right? These blue lines that you can see now, these are known as constraints. If you recall it from the first lecture, that by default you get the constant layout. Layout is something where on which the components are kept, and here you can see that the code is auto generated for the three components: TextView, EditText is for taking the username, and the button on which the clicking will be done. So here you'll see it. We want this EditText to appear at the middle of the width of the screen. So here, see, click here. This is the constraints of the EditText component. You can see that there are 4 pluses. That means none of the constraint is being added yet. So I'll click this node here and drag it onto the right of the layout window, on the right corner, right? So, and here this left node, I'll take it and drag it to the left of the layout window. See, this is saying that 0 pixel gap from the left and right of the layout windows, right? But because you established constraints on both the sides, can you see the blue lines here? This EditText will appear at the center of the width of the device, right? This is that. And I want this button component to appear at the center of the width of the screen. Also, I want it at a certain gap from this EditText component. First of all, I'll make it at the center of, see, click it. Can you see it? There are none of the constants yet added to this. This plus means there's none of the constants, right? So I'll click this node and I drag it to the right corner of the layout window. This is the right constant is added to it. Now I'll click this dot here and I'll drag it to the left corner of the layout. But here there are no constants to the top and bottom of the attribute. I'll click this node and drag it to the. Now see, this is now this button is in zero spacing from the EditText component. I'll click here. I'll make it say 16. We can even increase 14. So now this button has three components, three constants. From the left and right, it is at the 0 pixels gap. So because there are two constants left and right, so it will appear at the center of the layout width window and at the 24 pixel gap from the EditText control. Now we'll set the constant of this. It has already the four constants. Can you see it? So it is in the constant with the layouts. Left and right is with the layout is okay. I'll remove this. I'll click on these, delete left constant. This is gone. Because the moment you delete the left constant, it will go and attach to the, because the constant on the right is still there, so it will go and attach to the right border of the layout. I'll delete this one also. Now I'll create this left constant. I'll click it, just maximize it first, and I'll drag it where. So this left constant is created. Thereafter, I'll click and drag it to the right border, so it will come at the center of the layout width. And with this button component, I want it at a specific gap. I see at the moment it is in constant with the layout top. I'll delete it and it will go at the bottom, because see why it has gone to bottom, because the top constant deleted but the bottom constant with the layout is still there. So I'll just drag it and I want it to have a constant with the button, and I'll delete this bottom constant, so it will get attached to the button component. I'll keep it at the gap of 24 pixel. So this is that. Through these constant attributes, you can align the components with each other as well as with the layouts also. With more lectures, I'll be using it. I'll be using these constant attributes, so you'll understand it more better with the lectures and all. Now it's time to set the size of these three components. Let's see what is the default size of this EditText component. Size is 18 SP. SP, as I discussed in the first lecture, it is SIP, scale independent pixel. Don't forget to view the first lecture, right, to understand the meaning of all this. I'll set it to the size of 24 SP for this EditText. Also this button, I'll set it to 24 SP. I could have selected all and made the sizes together in one shot. So this is that. One thing more. I don't want this hello world to appear by default. I want here to appear the message welcome and the username on click of this button. I don't want this hello world to appear as default. So can you see it here, the text property? I'll delete it. I'll just enlarge it to make you see that. See, this is the text property hello world. I'll select it and press the delete key and press enter key. So this is deleted. This is my text view, which is no text now, right? So this is my total GUI that I have designed. Control escape. Now this is that, right? And here is my code auto generated by Gradle by Android Studio. Now we want it to work, this code to work. So I'll start with the Kotlin code. We are using Kotlin here. See, for the first step is to define the name for these variables, for these components. Acha, I have to define the name of these attributes. The default name of this attribute is EditText. I'll make it EditText name. So the ID of this EditText component is set to EditText name. It is asking, do you want this ID to be replaced at whatever places this EditText component have been used? I'll say yes. So now wherever this EditText have been used, its ID will be replaced by EditText name now. Similarly for this button, the default ID is button. I'll make it button submit. Yes, and here is my component. This is TextView. The name ID I'll assign is TextView and name. I'll make it TextView name. See it here, TextView name, right? So the ID for the 3 has been set. EditText name for this EditText component, button submit for this button component, and TextView name for this text. No, I'll make it TextView response because it is response. Yes, it is, because it is supposed to display the response, welcome message, right? So the ID should be very, it should be explanatory. Okay, now the thing is that I have to write the code for this. The moment a button is clicked, you should get the welcome message. So what I'll do here, I'll set the names of these variables. In Kotlin, there are two types of variables. One is val, which is a variable which you can't change. The value for that is fixed. And another variable which is declared by var is a variable which that means its value can be changed, right? So we'll start with val here. I'll make val and declare the name as val name equal to, and I'll write here find view ID. The moment you write something, Android Studio will show you the clue. That means it will help you in the writing the code. You just double click it. See, what I'm doing is that all the 3 components will be given certain name in Kotlin so that it can be accessed from Kotlin, from the language, right? So here I am giving the name for the EditText control. The moment I write edit, you can see it here. Double click it. Here you in the library, you can see one library is imported, android.widget.editText. That means this library will be having all the features, all the meanings of the EditText component. And here I'll write R, that is resource layout dot ID dot, and what is the name of that EditText component I have taken? EditText name. Double click. That means again I repeat, this EditText component will be used by the name variable here, right? Similarly, we'll give the name to the button also. I'll give the name submit button equal to find. Double click it. And here in this less than and greater than sign, these brackets, within this bracket I'll write button. The moment you double click on this button, look at the library here. See this library, button library is imported. Can you see that? And here I'll write r.id not, and what's the name of I given it to this button submit. Double click it. Similarly, for the displaying the message, I want to display the message. This variable is display message, and here I'll give the name find view ID. In the brackets I'll write TextView because this message will represent my TextView component. And what was the ID of the TextView component? RID, and what was the name I gave? TextView response. So these are the 3 components. The EditText button and TextView response will be used in Kotlin by the represent. They are represented through these variables: name, submit button, and display message. Okay. Now I'll write that when submit button set on click listener, this is the option I click. That means if a click event occurs on this button, do this thing. What you do is here I'll write the code. You want to display the welcome message through the text view, and text view is known as message dot, and you want to set its text. What you want to set its text as the whatever the name will be given here in the EditText name dot text. So now what will happen? The moment anybody clicks on this submit button, it will display the name which is being entered in the EditText component. But I don't want only the name, I want welcome message also. So in apostrophe I'll write welcome, a space there, and then plus. This is string concatenation symbol plus, then again plus here after the name, apostrophe, exclamation point. So this is that. Now let's run this. As we discussed in the last lecture, that you, before running the app, you should run your AVD. If you recall, my AVD is already running, right? I'll just run my app. This is my app. This is the AVD, which is we created in the last lecture, and run it. You'll get the output here. My app is running. I'll enter the name here. Suppose one thing more. I don't want this name to appear like in such an embossed way. I want it to just get deleted the moment I enter something. So I'll go into the layout, this name. This text I don't want to appear. I'll just delete it. Select key and del key, enter key. So this name is deleted. And in the hint, see if there is any hint component. Hint, yes, hint. Here I'll write enter your name. It will be a message to the user that I want a name to be entered in this edit text box. See, and see, when you write hint, it will appear in a very dim letters, and it will be overwritten the moment user will start entering anything. So I'll just go and run my app again. I'll stop it and I'll run it again. I'll go into my emulator. This is my emulator. See, this is a hint. The moment I'll type anything, this hint will be lost. I'll write my name, say Bintu. And the moment I click on button, see, the output will appear here. Welcome Bintu. Can you see that? So this program is working perfectly well. But I want instead of this thing output being displayed through this text view, I want the output to be displayed through toast component. What is toast component? This toast component will display the output and it will become invisible. It will get hidden. So when you want to display certain messages to the user, but you don't want those components to remain there, to occupy the screen space, you can use the toast. And for toast, I have written a certain code for you. It's here. I'll just copy this code, and then I'll make you understand what it is doing. I'll go to Edit Visual Studio. I'll comment out this thing. And here I'll paste the code. So this text view is commented out. Now what I'm doing, I'm declaring one variable message of string type. I'm making this string variable to initialize to welcome username. I'll make it name here because I've used the name, I've used the variable as name here, and then exclamation point, right? So this string, this message string is initialized to welcome and the name entered in the edit text component. This is the syntax for toast component. Application context means in this context, in this main activity, you want this message to display welcome and the username, and the toast dot, this attribute of the toast is that length underscore long. That means this toast will be displayed for a longer time. This is the constraint. If I replace this length underscore long by length underscore short, this toast will display for a very small seconds, a very small number of seconds. If I don't write this set gravity, this toast message will appear anywhere on the screen. But I'm using this gravity dot center means I want this toast to appear at the center of the screen, at the 0 distance from the x coordinate and 0 distance from the y coordinate. So it will appear at exactly center of the screen, right? And then toast1 dot show. So this toast component is given this variable toast1 to which this long duration is assigned and this message is assigned. It will be displayed at the center of the screen, and this by this shows function, it will be displayed. Now can you see that you are having this red mark here? This means that Visual Studio is not able to understand this toast because you haven't included the library for that. So what you do, you click here and press Alt Enter key. See, this has become black. That means the library is included at the top. Can you see that? Again, here you go. See, it's asking for, can I import it? You click on import, it's gone. See, the import, this library is imported here. So the error is gone. Let's run this. You stop the earlier execution, click on play button. See, and here is your emulator. You get the output, but this time the output won't be through the TextView component but through the toast, right? Let me enter the name, say Bintu, and click on this button. Welcome Bintu. Can you see it? Again, let's click it and see. It will appear and it will go. So the program is working perfectly well. You don't have to worry about the code because I have supplied the code in the description box. You can download it. If you like this video, please subscribe the channel, write your comments, share it with your friends. Thanks for watching the video.